I'm a student. My parents make enough money that when I went through student finance to get my maintenance loan, I was told I could only get the minimum, just over 3K a year. Because finance is calculated from your parents' earn, and there's an assumption that your parents will help you out. I'm on a high-intensity course, and I wasn't sure how I would be able to balance studying and schooling. So when I found out I was going to get minimum, I told my parents I wanted to either take the coming year to save up and then go to my first choice university a year later than planned, or go to my second choice now because I wouldn't be able to afford to live in the city my first choice is in. My parents then said that they would pay my rent if I went to my first choice on schedule. They set me up in a studio flat, so all I had to do was get a part-time job to cover the cost of food and bills. On 18th February, my 20th birthday, they called me and said that I was relying on them too much and needed to find out what the real world was like by earning my own money, so they would cover my rent and phone for that month, so until end of February, and after that I was on my own. Then said that they were still my parents and they loved me and wanted me to stay in touch. Just learn some independence while doing this. I begged them to reconsider, but they ended the call, so I had 11 days notice that I would have no flat or phone. I begged my university for emergency housing, but they said that I had no proof I'd been cut off, so they couldn't do anything. I emailed my parents asking them to write a letter stating they had cut me off so I could sort my student finance and emergency housing, but they said no. I asked work if I could take on more hours and was told that due to my contract I can't do any more than I'm already doing. So I'm now looking for a second job. I'm sleeping on a friend's sofa until a place I can afford opens up. And as I still don't have proof I've been cut off for student finance, I will probably have to drop out this summer. I got a Facebook message from them today telling me they were disappointed I didn't call on Mom's birthday a couple days ago, and that I've not given them my new phone number yet. I responded telling them the position I'm currently in and that I no longer want a relationship with them. I've gotten a bunch of messages from them and my brothers asking me to reconsider. My friend says I shouldn't feel bad, but I feel incredibly guilty and like a spoiled brat because I don't love my family for their money. I love them because they're my family. But at the same time, they've really screwed me over here. Am I the a-hole for not wanting a relationship with them? Update. I messaged them asking why they cut me off, saying the least they could do was explain why they're fine leaving me homeless. They responded, "My friend, the one I'm staying with, is an out and proud lesbian. There are maybe 2 posts about me on her social media, one being a group shot of us and some people we were studying with in the library with me and her sat together, and another from a couple days before my birthday where she posted a photo of me when we went out to lunch, because we weren't planning on seeing each other on my actual birthday. And in the caption she refers to me as Princess in a clearly joking way. My brothers then showed our parents and told them I was a lesbian and she was my girlfriend. So now I have proof that they cut me off, proof they're homophobic, and confirmation that they can and will switch on me at the drop of a hat, as well as proof of my brothers, who are older than me and living with our parents, being jealous shitheads. They didn't just tell me this on the phone because they hoped I would figure it out, which is tricky given that is not effing true. Apparently there's enough affection still there for them to expect a call on Mom's birthday, but not enough to not totally F me over. So yeah, never talking to them again, any of them. I've sent the screenshots to the person I spoke to in emergency housing, though I've been warned that for something called emergency housing, it's not very fast. My friend has said I can stay with her as long as I need. The reply my parents sent hasn't explicitly said the phrase "we cut you off because," but given the context of them replying to my message asking why it should be enough. Thanks everyone. I felt really shitty cutting them off over finances, but now I know they're pure effing evil. I don't feel so bad. I've also sent my parents the screenshots of my brother confirming that he and my brother lied about me, and they're very apologetic, but that doesn't change anything. As my brothers live with my parents, I hope they're all very happy together right now. New plan. Changing the focus of my studies going into third year to focus on the subjects I want to do, not the ones my parents wanted me to do. My friend says I can stay with her as long as I need and has said if I can't get emergency housing, but can sort out my placement or another job, then we could get a place together next year. So I have a confirmed roommate. So I no longer think I'm the a-hole, so I'll probably be taking this down. So here's the thing. I might not be straight. I'm figuring it out, and I don't really have the capacity to go through it right now, but I've never said anything to anyone at all, ever, because I knew my parents were homophobic. So my brothers may have thought they were lying, but they also may have been inadvertently correct. And I have to say being correct by accident is very typical of them. OP, at first I thought your parents were being tough on you, but after your update, I realized they were being tough, cruel to you, and trying to sabotage your future because of a very stupid reason. Their reason for cutting you off and not helping you out with your bills after they said they would is because your brothers told them you were gay, and they felt like that was good enough to destroy your relationship with them. They're stupid and your brothers are jerks. They deserve each other. I'm super glad you no longer think you're the a-hole, and you've gotten the evidence you need to get financial aid. I wish you good luck, OP, on your academics and figuring out your sexuality. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. Your parents royally screwed you over here. You had two separate plans to be able to afford to go to university yourself, and they said if you went to your first choice, they would help you out. To then cut you off with very little warning is completely unfair. I don't blame you for not wanting a relationship with them after they've put you in this position. Not the a-hole. They made an offer and backed out of it in the middle of a semester. If they wanted you to be independent, they should have let you make your own decision to go a year later. Now you're out of a home and struggling financially, and even if you get on top of finances fully, you'll be strung too thin for your health because they pulled the rug from under you. I understand. It feels really grimy to try to cut ties when money is involved, but really it shouldn't be about the money. It's about the fact they left you out to dry and they expect a thank you. Your parents are falling over themselves to apologize, but are they actually offering to correct their mistake at all? Apologies for being homophobic a-holes don't really mean anything if the result of their homophobic a-holeness are still affecting you. Not that suddenly giving you money again would make up for any of what they've put you through in the meantime, or the undeniable fact that they're blatant bigots, but at least it could help your immediate situation through the end of the semester, while you work out some better options than relying on those Fs. Even if they are offering to make it right though, I could totally understand why you wouldn't want to be reliant on their bigotry not turning towards you again. But if they're not even offering at all, their apologies are entirely meaningless. Story 2. The three of us have had a difficult relationship for the past 4 years. My daughter and wife were friends at one point prior to when we began dating. But my daughter had a difficult time accepting our relationship and cut my wife out of her life as a friend and went low contact with me for a while. That lasted for about 8 months. But eventually things started to get better. My relationship with my daughter mostly went back to normal and she was able to be friendly with my wife again. Then we started having problems again when my wife and I announced our engagement in January 2019. I don't know if my daughter made it nice expecting a breakup sooner or later, but a lot of the old issues resurfaced. This time she didn't cut contact, but it took us a few months to come to an understanding. It seemed like at this point she finally accepted our relationship and came to terms with it because she ended up serving as part of the bridal party. Our wedding took place in October and we started trying to get pregnant in January of this year. We got pregnant in February. Our daughter was one of the first people we told. She seemed happy for us at first, but she then later sent us both messages saying we were disgusting and had no right to have a child together. We tried for months to work through this, my wife especially, but that stopped after she and my daughter had a bad fight a few weeks ago. Originally, my wife had invited my daughter to her drive-in baby shower, which is going to happen next Sunday. But she told me that she wanted to uninvite my daughter because of how she had treated us. It's her baby shower and I agree that my daughter has been rude. So I told her I would support her if she wanted to go that route. She did end up sending my daughter an email asking her not to attend. We didn't get a response for a few days, but my daughter apologized and asked to be re-invited. My wife wanted to hold our position because she felt like if we didn't, the cycle would continue. I supported that decision, and we told her that we accepted her apology but didn't think it was a good idea since it seemed like she couldn't be supportive. My daughter has sent a few more apologies and requests to be invited. My wife has not changed her mind, but I'm starting to feel like we're being a-holes and should accept the apology and re-invite her. She seems sincere, and I think family members should be willing to forgive and forget. Most family members I have spoken to agree that we are being too harsh on my daughter and acting like a-holes, and I'm especially to blame since she is my daughter. Am I the a-hole for siding with my wife? Would I be the a-hole if I changed my mind and urged her to re-invite my daughter? My daughter is 28, in case that is relevant. Everyone sucks here, OP. You've made your daughter feel discarded. You chose her friend over her. Your daughter has acted poorly, but so have you. What kind of father does that? And now you're having a new baby with a young woman who was her friend. But then again, your daughter has insulted your wife, her ex-friend, your soon-to-be-born child, and has been rude too. Everyone sucks here, even your wife. No person wants their friend to hook up with their dad, so your daughter's behavior is still understandable. If you want to fix this, re-invite your daughter and try to mend your relationship. Make her feel like she's your daughter. Story 3. I will try to make this as brief as possible. My husband and I, both 37, have been together 7 years. For about 10 years, he has had a close female friend named Jane. Jane is fine. We have enough in common that I like doing things in group settings with her, and we even chat on our own occasionally, but she's definitely closer to my husband. She's been with her own husband since I came around, but I always got the sense from Jane herself, from old photos and a few old anecdotes from some of my husband's other friends, that Jane wanted to date my husband before she met hers, and he just never showed any interest. So throughout the years, there has been a little weirdness, but nothing serious. He was her man of honor, a few gushy tributes to him on his birthday over Facebook, or the odd sitting on his lap in a big group photo, but never overly flirtatious. She seemed super happy with her husband, so it was never a big enough deal to mention anything. But I noticed them all. Fast forward to a few months ago, and Jane became pregnant. She immediately asked my husband to be the godfather, and he was thrilled. I wasn't surprised. I was happy for him, internally a bit. Of course she did. But through the months, she turned weird. She wanted my husband to come with her and her husband baby shopping once or twice. Even asked how my husband felt about him and I being the first people to meet the baby when they're born. It's nice that she included me, but clearly it's about my husband. And then it escalated. She announced she was going to name the baby after my husband. Not just his name, but her Facebook announcement said, "After my dearest and best friend John." I mentioned that that was weird to my husband, and he just said, "I think it's a nice tribute." This past weekend was her very small COVID-friendly baby shower, during which Jane kept referring to my husband as the godfather-to-be, which irked me every single time. I guess the month of her being weird just piled on because towards the end, she asked me to take a photo of her and her husband, and then she said, "Okay, now let's get one with both the fathers-to-be." And I said, very loudly, "Oh, come the F on. Are you serious?" Everybody heard me. I stared at her for a moment. She looked absolutely aghast. And I grabbed my purse and just left. My husband followed me, but in the car, he wouldn't say a word to me. I laid out everything I did in the post, including a dozen other examples, but he just stared straight ahead and wouldn't answer. Finally, when we got home, he acknowledged that yes, a lot of stuff now that he sees it all laid out is inappropriate, and he's sorry that he didn't see it. and he understands how I feel. But he is absolutely livid that I ruined her baby shower. Jane is furious, never wants to see me again, and John feels this is going to drive a big wedge through his friend group. So was I the a-hole here? Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. Yes, your timing was extremely unfortunate and you should apologize to the shower hosts and any guest you're friendly with. But dang, Jane needs to understand she poked and poked and poked and poked. And yeah, eventually that shit's gonna come back at her as an attack. If she didn't want to be called out, she shouldn't have acted as she did. OP is not the a-hole. Jane seriously has problems with boundaries, and I'm surprised that her own husband isn't sick of this by now. OP had an outburst and left before it could escalate. But someone had to break everyone out of their total acceptance of this wacko, claiming 2 men as the fathers-to-be. Who the F does that anyway? At most, I would say that the situation was cringeworthy, but mainly because Jane made it so by pushing boundaries in front of family and friends.